I can go through a box pretty quick on the first round, then I go back through on the second, and then the third I get a little deeper. And what I always miss is the hold to the lights, because they just... Have you ever got a lot of postcards, bought a box of them, and you start looking through them and you see Mount Vernon, Niagara Falls, Yellowstone, and Cypress Gardens? For some reason I see a ton of Cypress Gardens, those Southern Belle ladies, and around some flowers and bushes, and I just don't list a lot of them anymore. But I wanted to dig into it a little bit more. What is Cypress Gardens? Because I see water skiing, they do pretty good. So after I do the 10 cards I sold on the what sold portion, we're going to dig into the special topic of Cypress Gardens today. I found some history about them, and it opened my eyes a little bit what to look for on those. I got some pricing too. Then I did a poll, came out on a Saturday. Have you ever filed an eBay standard envelope claim? A lot of people are saying that they're refunding people because their postcards have not been received and stuff like that. There is a way you can possibly get your money back, and that's filing an eBay standard envelope claim. And I'll tell you what people said about that with the poll. And then at the end of the video, I always do viewer comments. Got about 3 or 4 comments today to go over, and we'll talk about those and give you my opinion. But first off, sold 10 cards on eBay. We're going to walk through them real quick and tell you what sold them for, what they are. And it's not all about the money. It's about what are people buying, what to look for. First one I sold is a deer with half dome behind it. This sold for $4.65. It's let me take my sticker off here. It's a linen card, unposted. He's upside down. Just a deer. $4.65. I think that sold within 24 hours of me posting it. Next one sold for $4. And this is like a painting, and it's called Jerked Down Oil Painting 1907. Just a postcard of a painting, chrome card, and this sold for $4. Probably a offer I sent out to a buyer, and they took it. This next one came out of, I did a series of videos about 400 days ago, as a matter of fact. It's this little series here of the 8 albums I bought from a gentleman that was downsizing and moving, and this came out of album 6. And this is a boat, the USS Monitor Nevada, and this sold for $5.55. So these older boat ones do pretty good. Next one is out of the same collection, but this is album 2. This is Market Street, Wappingers Falls, New York. Remember that name, Wappingers. I sold a lot of cards out of these albums from Wappingers. It's Wappingers. I'll put it right down here at the bottom, New York. So those cards have been very good to me. But I sold this one for $10.55. Market Street and there, divided back. So Wappingers is a name you want to remember. Next one is sold for $4.09, and this is just a picture of, I don't know, sunset, Maine, on the ocean. Sold for $4, $4.09. This was a surprising sale. Person bought 2 cards, and I usually don't sell these types of cards that often, and these have been in my store probably a couple years. This sold for $8.60. It's a couple rabbits, Easter. They're painting at Easter. So it's a very light embossed Easter card, posted 1907 on the back. Easter card sold for $8.60. And then she also bought another Easter one of 2 people dressed up as chickens or whatever, sold for $6.79. Probably got an offer on this one and found the other one. This is medium embossed. It's not real heavy embossed, but it's medium embossed. Another Easter card. I usually never sell holiday cards like this. And this is a divided back. It doesn't say when it was posted. Or, yeah, I don't see a postmark on it. But 2 Easter cards for a total of $15.39 to one person. That made my day. Next one is a card that I've seen many different versions of this, and this sold for $4.09. This photograph's been in plastic chrome, different views, different shades, But this is the Lafayette's Blacksmith Shop in New Orleans. Chrome card, sold for $409. Sent an offer to a buyer and they took it. I just listed this one yesterday, and it's the Temple, Cleveland, Ohio, and this sold for $465. And it's the Temple, not for sure if it's Masonic or whatever, but it's not as, it's been trimmed down. It's the way it's made, it's not as tall as a regular postcard. It's a little, you can tell it's got about a 1/4 inch off the top of a regular postcard. But that's the Temple, Cleveland, Ohio, unposted, and that's sold full price, $465. And then I have a whole bunch of Texas cards I've been putting up. They're just chrome cards. They're filler cards. I don't do a lot of research on them because they're chrome. San Antonio River, just a lot of them. A lot of Alamos and stuff like that. $465. Send offers to buyers, pays the bills. And this is another one from Austin, Texas, the largest capital in the state. It's the road, just a chrome card going on there. And that sold for $465. So total was 10 cards sold, and my total was $57.62. Let's see what my average sale price was. So if I take $57.62 divided by 10, which I could have done in my head, $5.76 per card, which is up. I'm up about 75 cents to 80 cents, 75 to 80 cents this year on my average sale price compared to last year. So I've been buying some better cards, finding smaller collections, being a little selective on what I list, and it's working out. It's putting a little bit more money in the bottom line. That's where I wanted. But now let's talk about a special topic. Cypress Gardens. I see these cards all the time. Every time I put a lot of them in the flea market bucket, and I said, is there really something with Cypress Gardens in Florida? Now I found out where this is located, and I got a little history here, but here's the map. So it's just, east of Tampa, south of Orlando is where Cypress Gardens is. And it's not called that anymore, and you'll find out. But while I go ahead and give you some history and some facts about Cypress Gardens to educate ourselves on it, I'm going to show you some postcards I found of Cypress Gardens. Cypress Gardens was a botanical garden and theme park near Winter Haven, Florida, that operated from 1936 to 2009. I never knew that was those dates. 1936 is when it started. As of 2011, the botanical garden portion has been preserved inside the newly formed Legoland, Florida. So now it's Legoland, Florida, but they do have a spot for the Cypress Garden. The garden included 8,000 different flowers from over 90 different countries. Billed as Florida's first commercial tourist theme park, Cypress Gardens opened on January 2nd, 1936 as a botanical garden planted by Dick Pope Sr. and his wife Julie. Over the years, it became one of the biggest attractions in Florida, known for its water ski shows, gardens, and southern belles. Those are those ladies in those corsets or whatever, fancy yellow, red, purple dresses you see on the postcards. It became known as the water ski capital of the world. Competition for guests increased after Walt Disney World Resort opened nearby in 1971. In the early 1980s, the Popes retired and transferred the park to their son, Dick Pope Jr. After 2 more owners, the park operated until April 13, 2003, when it closed after a prolonged tourism decline following the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. 529 people were put out of work within 3 days' notice. 2004, Adventure Parks Group, owned by Ken Busher, purchased the property and renamed it Cypress Gardens Adventure Park. In 2009, it didn't do well. I don't think it ever got off the ground. Owner Land South Holdings LLC announced that the park was closing immediately, saying that all revenues to keep the park open has been explored, but they were unable to find a way to keep the park running. So after another owner, they finally decided they had to close it in 2009. On January 15, 2010, the world's second largest theme park and attraction operator, Merlin Entertainment, bought Cypress Gardens with the intent to use the site for the 5th Legoland. and that's what it is today. The Cypress Gardens water ski team still exists and performs on the third Saturday of each month. So there's a lot more history here, and I'm a lot more knowledgeable now about Cypress Gardens. So when I look at those cards, I'm just not looking at some attraction that was a fly-by-night on the side of the road attraction. This has been around for a long, long time in the water skiers. With Cypress Gardens, there's some cards I just won't list anymore. I got, just the pictures of the flowers and stuff. I got a lot of those, but the water skiers, I always put those up. They don't go for big dollars, as we'll see here in a minute, but some of them do sell, and there are some older ones. But let's look at the sell-through. Now, before I get into the sell-through rate today, I just want to let you know I had a lot of requests if I had a document with all these sell-through rates on it. And I did. I pretty well did. That's where I kept things, and that's what I use in these videos. But I took all that and I put it into a document, a PDF file, and it's Postcard Sell-Through Rates, version 2, or version 1, 2023. And basically what I did, I just cut and paste little tables, listed, the sold, the listed, and the sell-through rate, and I sorted them different ways. And I think there's about 22 pages right now of this, and it's free. You can get this free. I did a little clip for my Ko-Fi store. Ko-Fi is another little shop I have. It's kind of like buy me a coffee type thing for YouTubers to get a little support and donations. Well, they have a store called Ko-Fi, and it's just a little site shop. I pay a small fee every year to have it, and I'm going to walk you through in this little clip here on how to download that for free. So here we go. I'll be right back. Now, when you click on that Ko-Fi link or do the QR code that I just showed you, to get the sell-through rate document, and I'll show you a few other things on the Ko-Fi store. This is a separate little store. It's just a little site, kind of like Buy Me a Coffee, but it's called Ko-Fi. And they have a little shop, and they have memberships and stuff like that. It's just another way to support things. But you're going to come to the main homepage of SMPostcards Ko-Fi store right here. And there's some tabs here, and I'll just touch on a few. But to do this, you want to click on Shop. And once you click on the shop, it's going to bring you to what's in the shop. And I have a few things here, but what you're looking for is postcard sell-through rates. It says it right here on the left. You click on that, and they don't have a free option anymore. It's called How Much Would You Like to Pay? But you can put 0 in and not pay anything. And free, there's no limitations. But if you'd like to donate, some people have donated $1, $2, $5, whatever. It helps out because there is a small cost to run the Ko-Fi store and the YouTube and stuff like that. Donations are always appreciated. But like here, if I wanted to get it for free, it says 0. If I say add to cart, you got to put something in here. So if you put 0 here, add to cart, I've been doing this a couple times, playing with it. You can check out, and it'll send you an email to you on how to download it, or you can download it right here. And you can download it as much as possible. There's no limitations to if you paid something or whatever. It's free. It's free to use. Now, in the other things in the shop here, I have some sleeves for $3.25 plus shipping, postcards. A lot of people ask me for stuff like this, and I just can send them links here and say, here's if you want to try out what I use and stuff, and they'll buy it and stuff like that. Like the envelopes, I put 10 for $2 and plus shipping. So when people ask me from YouTube and stuff like that, I just point them over here and they can buy a sample. But I also have these little quick reference guide. At one time, eBay took the era list out of their stuff, so I put it on a little card stock for like postcards. And then I also found a stamp box I've used many times to date postcards, so I put those two there. These are $1.50 because they're the physical copy. They're on cardstock, and I mail them, so there is a cost to the envelope, the stamp, and the cardstock and stuff. So it's $1.50 if you want the hard copy, or you can go down here and get the free copy and print it out yourself. So this is not a money maker for me at all. This is just a place that I can put stuff for free or small dollars and stuff. These little lifeguard towers here, these are actually postcards. My wife took these pictures. We go to Siesta Key every year. This is the Siesta Beach, a public beach, and they have different color ones. Different play. I got them on eBay, and I had them on Etsy, and I put them here and stuff like that. Another thing that's pretty neat is they have like a membership thing. Instead of buy me a coffee, I just created 4 that says buy me a postcard, basically. So if you're a monthly member for $1 or $2 or $3 or $4, you're a chrome linen white border or whatever membership on here. And when you join, you sign into Ko-Fi, create a user ID. It takes $1 every month. But if you're at the $3 and $4 level, you get 40% off anything in the store, in the Ko-Fi store. So like sleeves at $3.25, you basically get 40% off of that. Anything that's in the store price, but you have to sign in to Ko-Fi to get that 40%. I'll check it when people do that, but I've sold a few things to people. One person buys 7 sleeves at a time that fit in a box and stuff like that. But that's what Ko-Fi is about. It's a very simple site, different things on there, and you can do a one-time donation. You can do member. There's a lot you can do on Ko-Fi. So now let's get back to the other video. Okay, that's all there is to it. Ko-Fi is very simple. Just create a user ID, shoot a password in, and you can get it for free, or you want to donate, not required, you can do it. And as I put them up there, you can download it as often as possible, and I hope it helps people with the sell-through rate on there. I know when I was putting it together and I updated the numbers for the sheet, I was amazed at some of them. But if there's anything that's not on the sheet and you want me to add, just send me an email to mark@smpostcards.com and tell me add to STR, sell-through rate, and I'll go out and put that on the sheet if possible. But Ko-Fi is a nice little place to use. But now let's get down to what the sell-through rate for Cypress Gardens is. So how I calculate sell-through rate is I take sold divided by the number listed times 100, and the times 100 just moves the decimal point to make it a percent, easier to read. Some people say you should use completed. Well, when I click sold, it does completed. This is whatever eBay shows me. It's 90 days is basically what I see. I think it's 90 days. So if I put postcard space Cypress Gardens, it showed me 560 were sold. That's what shows at the top of eBay. And then I unclick the sold, and then whatever's listed is 5,700. It says plus on there, but I just take the 5,700. Now my reasoning behind that is I'm doing it the same for all of them. So I can divide by 3 to go to 30 days, but I have to do it for all of them. So I just take the number to give me. What I'm looking for is outliers, any low ones and any really high ones. So I know what to do. And the middle average ones I'll keep in there, but I'm looking for like some outliers. Are these like the Wiki-Watchy mermaids are like 40-some% to my calculations? Definitely will pick those up. QSL cards are like 2%. I definitely will not look for those. So that's what this does. It's just a guideline. I'm not looking to get down to the exact percent. And when I do the percents, I actually round up or round down a little bit too. So it's just a guideline to give you on there. You're never going to get exactly to the dollar. But 560 divided by 5,700 times 100 gives you a 10% sell-through rate for Cypress Gardens. But like I said, you got to bounce it up against other postcards. Not bread makers, DVDs, and stuff like that, or clothes. All their postcards doing it the same way. Idaho comes out at 9%. In Cypress Gardens, 10%. So it's in the top average of the average postcards. It's 10%. I think Disney's 12, McDonald's 22, Wiki-Watchy's 40. Nevada, Postcard Nevada, 8%. Postcard California, 6%, and Massachusetts, 4%. So Cypress Gardens is something to look for. I mean, they've listed 5,700, and they've sold 560 of those on eBay. So I think there's something to these more than I thought, just by looking at the sell-through rate. So I'm looking at them a little different. And that's what these do. You can go by how you feel and what you think, but unless you have data to back it up, you can't say for real, because what's happening is not what you think. So I was thinking Cypress Gardens is not a good card to get. Well, looking at a 10% sell-through rate, it's going to do better than Massachusetts. And last month, I just put up a whole bunch of Massachusetts, and I was tossing Cypress Gardens probably into the bucket for the flea market. So that's how data can change things on there. But here's some pricing. I usually go over to sold high, sold low, list high, list low. I did a little something different with the listed this time because something just stuck out to me. But the sold highs out here, as you notice, there's a $10, $8, and a $7 or an $8 one. So they're running $8 to $10. They're not really like 30, 50. They're not your top cards, but they're good average, higher than the average cards for your filler cards to pay the bills. So like this one is one I've never seen before, and that's why I grabbed it. Cypress Gardens Triangle Winter Haven, Florida Citrus Industry Oranges. $10 in an auction. That's a little different Cypress Gardens card. And then you get the water skiers. These are the ones I look for, and they're going to sell between $5 and $8, most of them. And here's a multi-view of different skiers, and that's sold for $8. And then I've seen this one before, the bottom one there, the guy jumping over the other guy on a ramp. That's what they're known for. I've sold that card between $5 and $8 before. A lot of them are linen, but there's a lot of chromes of them too. But then you look at the lows. So we just seen the skiers sell for $8, and here's the pyramid skier, and it's sold for $1.25. And here's what they call the human kites. They had the kite skiers, $1.39. And then here's, I put a Southern Belle one in here, $1.95. I think the water skier and the human kite could go up a little bit more. They could have got a couple more dollars for those than what I'm seeing now. Now they're not going to get $50 for them, but they could have got a little bit more. And these weren't auctions. These were best offers or buy it now. Now when we get into listed, I found this card. I've sold this card. I have this card. I've seen it. I've seen different things. And I've seen this listing out here forever because I remember what they wrote. Hot man ripped. Hot man ripped because of his abs and everything. Probably a lot of Photoshop going on. Water skiing stuntman human kite. I've seen this listing forever, and they have it up for $57.50. And we just saw that they're really not selling more than $10 on some of these. Now a lot of people say, well, Mark, the people can list whatever they want. You always get on the people that list things. I'm just showing you the final product of what these people do. I'm just showing you that somebody just went out and threw this $57.50 up on the wall to see if it'd stick. So I said, is there something to this? Did I sell it too low? That's what I look for. I'm not here to bash the buyers or sellers or roast them. I'm just here looking at the final product that I'm competing with. And this one's $57.50. Did I leave some money on the table? So I went out there and looked for what this card's listed for out there. And I found this one, $3.50. Found this one, $2.85. Found this one, $3. Found this one, $6. Found this one, $5. Found this one, $3.99. So all these, none of them, the highest one is $6 and the lowest one is $2.85. And I just did that in how fast? And you're saying, well, maybe some sold. There's 0 sold. That's how many sold. None are sold. And this guy's got it up for $57.50. Or lady. That's what I'm saying about postcard pricing. When you comp them, you got to be careful. Just because there's one for $57.50, there's 7 comps here, or 6 comps here, and no solds. There's nothing to back up that $57.50. That's the message I'm trying to get. Not that this seller's wrong or whatever. They can put it up for whatever they want. I'm just saying there's no data here to say that that card, the chances of that card selling for $57.50 is so low that it's been out there forever. I remember seeing, because I know the Rip Man Rip title, unless he's got multiple cards of it. But all these other ones are, why would someone pay $57.50? Maybe the impulse buyer that doesn't know how to search on eBay would be the only way, but your chances of that is very low. I'm just saying your sell-through rate at $57.50 is going to be so low that you're never going to sell that card. I'll take a stance on that right there. So that's what I do with the listing stuff. But if you just look at all those comps compared to that, that's what you want to look for. Don't go for the highest one. I throw high ones out and I throw low ones out, and I look for the average, and I go above, just a little bit above average. Just because a card, if you got 10 cards sold for $5 and you got 1 card sold for $60, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to put it up for $55 or $65. That one-off card could have been just somebody popping in or a friend. You never know. But all the other ones is a trend, is what I'm trying to get to, is to look for the trends, the normal. Your outliers and stuff will happen, but it doesn't happen that often. You want a good sell-through rate. You want your chances of your stuff moving better than everybody else. be careful when you're comping postcards. And a lot of times, you just go with your gut. That card looks really cool, but it's not $57.50. I would probably price it up a little bit, but looking at these comps, you're pushing it maybe $4 or $5, $6, because your competition's a lot lower. I don't race to the bottom, but also I can't overprice it where it'll never sell. So you got to play with it a little bit and do what you want. You can do whatever you want. I'm just trying to show you what I do and how I think, so you can mix it in with the way you think and come up with a good thing to sell. But with Cypress Gardens, to sum it all up, I'm looking at them a little different now. I'm not worried about it being Legoland. I'm really saying, okay, that thing's been around since 1936. Is there some older Cypress Gardens cards that I haven't seen? Because I see Cypress Gardens, I just toss them. I don't really look at them. So I'm going to be probably taking a second look at some of these on there, especially the water skiers, and maybe change up the title a little bit. Maybe this is one thing's coming back a little bit. Now Mount Vernon and Niagara Falls, probably not. But Cypress Gardens was I'm glad I did this video because I learned a lot about the history of it. I really didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it was the first tourist attraction in Florida was Cypress Gardens. Let me know if you get any wins in Cypress Gardens. Who knew? Polls come out every Saturday. I just put some questions out there with an easy yes or no most of the time answer. When you see them, if you're subscribed, and it should show them to you. Or if you looked at one, it should show them to you as well. This one was, have you ever filed a claim with eBay Standard Envelope Insurance? And what that is, if you use eBay Standard Envelope and an item is damaged or not received, even if it says delivered, I've gotten approved to get my money back because the scans could be off. They never got it because eBay Standard Envelope, they're scanned at the sorting centers. So if it says delivered, it's still got a day or two to get to the customer's house. But 18% said yes, 79% said no. Guys, it's free money. I got approximately close to $70 back last year on this insurance that I refunded people. It's kind of like I send a postcard out for $5 to under $20 and under, and if it doesn't make it and I have to refund, I'm putting a claim in after 30 days. And I have a whole video about this. Check this video out here. Look in my video thing, and I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. But there's the thumbnail. But that walks you through the whole form on how to do it and how I track it, because you can't do it. You have to wait 30 days and before 90 days to turn it. At the moment, I don't have any claims to put in. I haven't had any problems in the last month or so with any of my postcards, and I've heard it from other people that they've had some major problems in the Baltimore area and stuff like that. But I've been pretty lucky. It comes in spurts. But I don't have any waiting to be turned, to fill out a claim either, so pretty good. But I got some comments from people I wanted to share, a little more than normal. I wanted to share because it tells the story a little bit. TK431, not yet, but I need to. So he's got a couple just waiting. Got to do it before 90 days is over, and you can't do it before 30. So you got to have a little way to track it. All the new treasures, so far I've never needed to. That's a good thing. Pain Rider Collectibles, I've completed 3 claims and have 2 in the 30-day queue. She's got a system tracking it. It's very simple to track the stuff. Especially now with eBay keeping all that information out there for us. They're not deleting after 90 days and stuff. It just makes this process so much easier. Boldy Grow Pickers, I probably will have to soon. Card set in January hasn't shown up yet. Buyer said he'd give a hair more time, but I think it's lost. Yeah. So if you refund them and didn't receive it, just know in 90 days, you're going to get your money back. Most claims I've turned in, I've gotten my money back in under 48 hours into my PayPal. There's just a few things you got to do to fill out the form and a couple screen prints. But make them open a case. Put everything in the case. They want to see the item number and the refund and the buyer's name and the item stuff in there. And they'll tell you what to do. In that video, I walk you through that. See the lights. I have used it twice and both times had no problems. That dude, not yet. Almost time to send in my first one. He's tracking it as well. Trying to learn this. They used it twice and it went very smooth. They're great people to work with. I haven't had a problem at all. Waiting the required, for postcards and more, Laura, waiting the required 30 days to file for the first time. Appreciate your info on this to know how that it actually works. Yes, so thanks everyone for putting comments in. It really shows it's just not me talking head up here. It's what everybody else is saying too. It's a great program. We need to use it so we don't lose it. I love sending a postcard in an envelope out with eBay standard envelope, knowing if it doesn't make it, I don't have to refund. Years I just did it with a stamp and a label, and if it didn't make it, I had no recourse. There was no tracking or whatever, no refund. So you lose. But it's a great thing, and if you feel it takes too much time to do, you're missing out. You're going to have to sell another 2 postcards to make up for the one you didn't get your money back on. It's simple. Once you do it a couple times, it doesn't take no time at all. But so check those out on Saturday. Make sure you're subscribed. You hit the little bell icon, and these things will pop up. And at the end of the year, I gather what I did last year. I'm going to do it again. As I gather all these together, I think we had 38 best practices. And what best practices are, they're not defined by eBay and eBay standard envelope. They're defined by us more than anything. What is everybody doing? Right now, 18% of the people said they filed the claim. 79% said they didn't. So the best practice here would be you should use it to get your money back. It's what we're in business for. But maybe some of the 79% didn't have a problem, so they don't need to use it. But you'll see at the end of the year when I put it all together again. Now that was a fun video to do. Fewer comments come in. Remember, if you put comments in the YouTube out there, I consider them public. And if you want to send me an email at contact@SMPostcards.com, you can, and just say don't post or whatever. And if I see it very interesting, I might send you a message, hey, you mind if I use this in a video? I consider the email ones a little more private, but if it's on YouTube, it's already out there on stuff. And I got 3 today. I thought I had 4, but I got 3 comments. So Eric says to me in a comment, you have referred to buying something out of your wheelhouse as buying your education. Yeah, I spend money probably more than I should sometimes to learn about stuff. And I'll just buy it because I think it's neat. I want to learn more about it and see if there's anything in it on there. Well, I'm doing that as I purchase a box of postcards at a flea market. Okay, good step. My question is, when it comes to damage on card, what is your threshold? For example, is too much corner or edge damage to be sold? The really bent, creased, torn, or water damage are easy to pick out and discard. So I replied to Eric and I said it's a personal choice more than a lot of things. If a card is, they're made to be mailed. They're not like sports cards where it has to be pristine, all in the corners and centered and stuff. A lot of sports card people come to postcards and they get caught up in a lot of that because they see these postcards and they're saying, this is not worth much because it's got all this writing on it. It's got writing on the front, the corners are rounded, got a little crease here. That's postcards. What I do not list is if it's got big tears on them, a lot of that album stuff on the back. If it's water damage, it's got, like foxing really bad on it. They stink. I pretty well put those in a flea market on there and stuff like that. But just with one corner tear, some pinholes, a little bit of tape on there, maybe a couple spots on the back, I'll list those. If it's got a crease down the middle, it's a nice card, I'll put crease down the middle in the description on there. But I use a condition statement that covers a lot of that. And you can look at my listings at SMPostcards.com and pull up any listing and look at the condition statement. You can use that all you want. I probably stole pieces of it from somebody else. But that covers everything that could be on a postcard. I don't retype that every time. It's in my template and it just comes up. So it's a personal choice what you want to sell. I don't want to have the conversations. I don't want the returns. I don't want the refunds of sending out a card that isn't worth what they were expecting. They're buying from a flat picture in the first place. And sure, they should have seen it in the photos. My goal in my mind is I want to send the card out to a customer, to a buyer, in a new sleeve, put the card in there, in a nice envelope that's sealed, that, like, this is the best envelope, and they can take that card and they can just put it right in their collection. That's my goal. They don't have to do anything else with it, and there's no questions about it, and they go on. A lot of collectors will buy filler cards. Say they were looking at this bear card, and say this bear card had a big crease over here and some staining, and they have a bear card in their collection, but it's got a bigger rip. They'll buy this card to put in there and resell or do whatever they want with the other card. Then the next time they see the bear card, it'll be better condition. They'll buy that card and get rid of this card. So they're always looking to better up on different things as well. So some people will buy a little bit of a damaged card to put a filler card in their collection. If they're looking for a series, and say series 9 is number 9 in the series is the hardest one to find, and they find one and it's just pretty nasty, they're going to pick that card up for a low price, put it in their collection as a spacer, fill that space until they find another one of it. So you got to think that way too. But the real damaged ones, if it's worth listing, do it, but it's a personal choice. I don't want the conversations and stuff like that, so kind of picky sometimes on it, but not that picky like sports cards. You want to still sell these things in there, but if I got to drop the price in half, no, it's not getting listed. There's something wrong with it. I'm not gonna scrape off stuff off the back of a card or wipe it down or erase stuff, and it goes in the flea market, but I'll move on. So, but thanks, Eric, for your comment. I hope that helps. And everybody else, how do you do it? I'm probably going to do it as a poll. I got to come up with a question where I can do that. Sometimes I can't use these as a poll because it only gives you like 4 or 5 selections. So I got to come up with something. Then 3 said, thank you for a great video. Thank you. Philately, stamp collectors. I can never say that word. So stamp collectors and deltiology. Deltiology is the name for the study and collecting of postcards. Deltiology. So I know that one. Philately, I think that's how you say it. So stamp collectors plus postcard collecting, very interesting. Surely there are many collectors like me, stamps and postcards. Yes, there are. I get a lot of questions. Why don't you look at the stamps? I don't want to. Just not a stamp guy. Nothing wrong with it. I just never got into them. There's a lot to it, and I've been busy with other stuff. Buy my postcard, get the stamp on there. But what he's talking about is the stamp expert. He's a judge for the Stamp Association and stuff like that in the stamp world, and he's been collecting all his life. He did the Dear Doctor video, Tom. He's an expert on Dear Doctor, and we have a video up there for that. But this video here is where I met him in Chicago. He's from New York, and I met him in Chicago. He was at a stamp show, and he actually walked me through an exhibit room of all these different exhibits in there, and I think you'll be amazed. I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and I still pick up something new, but I walked around with my camera and picked up everything he talked about, and the knowledge he has and what he told you, it'll captivate you. And that's the video right there, and that's what 3 is talking about. And that's really all the video is walking around with Tom talking about things, and how they put these exhibits together makes you want to go to the next stamp show and walk through these exhibits and see what they've done. It's very, very informative, very, what do you call it, interesting about some of the things they did. And Tom has an excellent way of delivering the information. He's very good at orientating that on there. So check that video out. Get a cup of coffee, sit down, and it's great. Thanks, 3. And Alex says, thank you so much, Mark. Okay, thank you. There is so much great info on your list. Oh, he's talking about this that I just talked about, the sell-through rate thing here. Now, I'm sure it's going to get better. This is the first cut. As you said, it's called version 1. It's not in beta, but it's got a lot of information in there, and if you got questions about it, I found a couple misspellings in there, so quality control needs a little work on. But I also put some colors in there. Watch out for those. Don't get these. That's my personal opinions and stuff on there. But it'll get formatted maybe a little different as I go forward in version 2, 4, and 3. But that was my first cut of the information I had. But if there's something in there you want me to add, just send it to mark@SMPostcards.com, and I'll see if I can add it to the list. Thank you very much, Mark. There was so much info on your list. Yeah, there's a lot of data there. And it's free. It's data that you can get on eBay. So you can do whatever you want with this data because it's out there on eBay. I just did the work. I typed all the numbers in. I wasn't surprised with most, but some really stuck out. Yeah, there's a few on there that caught my eye. St. Patrick's Day cards seem to be just as hard to find as Halloween. Yeah, they are. I'll see lots of them, and I just have a tendency, I want to pick them up, but they go so high. And they sell, but people really gravitate to those. And I think you're right. They're not probably as high as Halloween. Keep up the great work. No problem. And I hope everybody gets something out of this. If you just find a couple things, and what this will help you with is if you're going through a white box of cards and you're looking to buy it, and you remember that this doesn't sell well, that doesn't sell, and you got 40% of the cards in there don't sell well, you're not going to pay that much. So hopefully that'll help you get the dollar down that you're paying per card. You want to pay as less as possible, but you also want to give a fair price to the seller, so you both feel comfortable about it. But if you're not going to make your money back, it's not worth buying. So if I look through a white box of cards and I see Cypress Gardens, Mount Vernon, Niagara Falls, courthouses, post offices, stuff like that in there, capitals, stuff I know kind of sells, but it's not good sell-through rates, and 50% of that, then my number is going to go down, because I know I'm going to be sitting on my money. But if I look through there and I see McDonald's and I see Disney, and over 50% of that box is just loaded with that type of stuff, my number might go up to make sure I can get that. So you got to plan that, and this stuff will help you be able to get better at that. Now, you're not going to remember everything on there, and you can't look up everyone on the list when you do it. You just got to remember on stuff like Wappingers, New York. That's one that stuck in my head. On there, McDonald's, Wiki Watchy. If you see a box and you're going to pay $100 for that, and you see 20 Wiki Watchy mermaids in there, you got your money back. So you might as well stop looking. Pick up the mermaids. That's what you want to get to. You want to be able to go to a box. I can go to a box pretty quick on the first round, then I go back through on the second, and then the third I get a little deeper. And what I always miss is the hold to the lights, because they unless you touch them and feel them and look for the die cuts, I have a bad time seeing those looking down in the box. Thanks for all the comments. Keep putting them in. People enjoy them. People have responded and helped each other out, and it just goes to show you what other people are thinking in the post world. It's just not you. Everybody has the same struggles and the same wins and losses as everyone else. And eBay sales right now are up and down. Just because I sold $60 worth of cards today, I've had some $5 days. I had no 0 days this year, but I've had some really low days so far this year than last year. I'm down about 4 or 5 cards a day. Am I threatening it? No, because I'm hitting my goals. Except the card per day. My average sale prices went up, so that's offset that a little bit. But I think it'll pick up, but you gotta ride the wave. Everybody has the same struggles. I don't react really quick to down days and stuff like that. I look more for a 3-month thing. Now, YouTube's gonna show you a video, because they think they know what you wanna watch next. And you probably do. So click on here, sit back and watch this video here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.